Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Friends, real serious moment here. It's an emergency. Someone needs to act quickly and check in on Rob Reiner and Stephen King, because at this point they're at serious risk of copium overdose. Donald Trump is definitely going to jail this time. This time it's different. This time we've got him. They got so close, or at least that's how it felt, but I guess no cigar. Cue the leftoid Twitter outrage. Because it turns out that Alvin Bragg is now having second thoughts. What a surprise, exactly as we reported it a couple days ago. The last-minute surprise witness, Michael Cohen's former legal counsel, Mr. Costello, apparently, as Trump said, did actually present irrefutable evidence, and now Alvin Bragg's case into the Trump Stormy Daniels hush payments seems to be in complete shambles and is probably not going anywhere. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so you turn on MSNBC today. I don't know exactly why you would be doing that, but hypothetically, you turn on MSNBC today, wanting to subject yourself to intellectual torture, and this is the leftist narrative.
I think it's different when you get in there and you're having, I could be wrong, but
you know,
I wouldn't know, but having your fingerprint taken and your picture taken.
You know we call that, Mika.
What?
That's called whistling past the graveyard. He's not looking forward to any of it. He's horrified. He's just talking big. The walls are closing in, as has been said before. This time, my God, look at all of it. They have. Now, I want to get back to the Republican lie. The main Republican lie right now is they're only charging Donald Trump. This is the politicalization of this statute of da-da. No. Let's give you some details on people who...
Ooh, spooky. The walls are closing in. Not like we haven't heard that before.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him. The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in.
The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. A couple hours later, womp womp womp. Soros-backed Bragg's bogus case falling apart due to major dissent in district attorney's office. The lies are catching up. The corrupt Soros-backed district attorney in Manhattan, Alvin Bragg, and his team canceled the grand jury this morning looking into the bogus case against President Trump. It was reportedly due to the corrupt DA's withholding evidence from the jury. Fox News reports Trump hush money grand jury proceedings canceled for Wednesday, sources say. The grand jury was slated to meet on Wednesday and was expected to hear from at least one additional witness, but Fox News has learned that Bragg's office canceled the proceedings. The grand jury was notified Wednesday morning and was placed on standby for Thursday, a source told Fox News. We can't confirm or comment on grand jury matters, Bragg's office told Fox News. Two sources familiar told Fox on Wednesday that the grand jury was canceled amid major dissension within the district attorney's office. One source claimed that the district attorney is having trouble, quote, convincing the grand jury on potential charges due to the weakness of the case. Alvin Bragg is now stuck desperately pleading with the grand jury, desperately attempting to convince them that a crime has occurred here. You know, if you have actual evidence, then the evidence should speak for itself, but it seems as Alvin Bragg doesn't have the evidence, and rather is relying on the hopes that a clearly biased left-wing New York grand jury, hoping that they would just completely disregard the lack of evidence and vote in favor of indicting Donald Trump, because what they really want at the end of the day, as Jesse Waters on Fox News pointed out the other night, was a Trump mugshot. I think that's been the hope, that's been the quest since the start. And you know what? Alvin Bragg might have actually been able to accomplish this, based purely on the testimony of Michael Cohen, until some new information started to drop that changed everything. We're now learning that Soros-funded District Attorney Alvin Bragg has been caught hiding nearly 600 pages of exculpatory evidence from New York grand jury in Trump case.
You know, I mentioned it yesterday. I think when Bob Costello cut into that grand jury room and told them, wait a minute, you don't have the hundreds of pages I handed over to Alvin Bragg over here. You only have 6 cherry-picked documents. You know, hiding from grand juries exculpatory information is reprehensible and unconscionable. And, you know, the conduct of Alvin Bragg and his henchman Mark Pomerantz, who specifically says in his book, we're targeting Trump because we don't like his beliefs, those guys should face disbarment proceedings.
Not exactly a good look, but it doesn't even end there. This right over here is the document that's changing everything. A 2018 letter from Michael Cohen's lawyer to the Federal Elections Commission, the FEC, obtained by the Daily Mail, blows another hole in Cohen's testimony. We have this document from McDermott, Will, and Emery, dated February 8th, 2018. Dear Mr. Jordan, I am writing on behalf of my client Michael D. Cohen in response to your letter dated January 30th, 2018. Specifically, this letter responds to the complaint numbered MUR 7313, which is filed the Federal Elections Commission FEC by Common Cause and Paul S. Ryan. In a private transaction in 2016 before the US presidential election, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Mrs. Stephanie Clifford. I'm assuming Mrs. Stephanie Clifford is Stormy Daniels, that's probably her real legal name. Neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Mrs. Clifford, and neither reimbursed Mr. Cohen for the payment directly or indirectly. Contrary to the allegations in the complaint, which are entirely speculative, neither Mr. Cohen nor Essential Consultants, LLC, made any in-kind contributions to Donald J. Trump for President, Inc., or any other presidential campaign committee. Mr. Cohen has not been a government employee during any of the relevant time period. The payment in question does not constitute a campaign contribution or expenditure, and therefore the FEC lacks jurisdiction over this matter. The complainants have not and cannot present any evidence to the contrary. Accordingly, the complaint should be dismissed. Holy frickin' moly. This is from Michael Cohen's legal counsel. And I don't know this for sure, but this is probably part of the evidence that Mr. Robert Costello, the surprise witness, presented during his testimony early this week. This case should be over. You know why? Because it was over back in 2018. This document, produced by Michael Cohen himself, completely discredits and disputes his entire testimony. He's a known liar. In fact, he's a convicted perjurer, which already makes the case weak to begin with. And now we have this document, actual document evidence, which completely contradicts his testimony in front of the grand jury, which is the only evidence that Soros-funded District Attorney Alvin Bragg built his entire case on. This is freaking game over. In fact, it seems as though this case is so weak and such a freaking clown show that even CNN is struggling to endorse it.
I think that the heat is on this DA. I think he's going to make a very sober decision, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't step back from the brink. I just think that the reality is he's got to make a sober decision now. I agree with David. A charge like this, a porn star payoff 7 years ago, somehow tied to the election, but not really. It doesn't seem like the right way to go.
That's Van Jones on CNN, which, we have to be fair, we have to give credit where credit is due. He has his moments of sober, rational thought and takes, so good on Van Jones. But what's really convincing, showing that Democrats are getting real cold feet, is that even Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer is hesitating to endorse Alvin Bragg's garbage case against Donald Trump.
In the House movement, questions the timing of Trump's possible indictment. Some are kind of saying that this is Democrats' just political attack on Trump. What is your response?
Look, I think it's premature to talk about it. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Yes, go ahead.
Do you have confidence in Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA?
Look, the bottom line is, as I said, it's premature to comment on what's happening, and we'll have to wait and see what he does. Yes.
That's how you know the whole thing is falling apart. And it shows you just how despicable, dishonest some of the comments that we've covered from Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Maxine Waters, and other Democrats have been. The case is simply falling apart. If they had real evidence, then the indictment would have came a long time ago. But instead, prosecutors have been cherry-picking emails. Robert Costello told us that they cherry-picked 6 emails out of 300. Alvin Bragg has also hid evidence, hiding nearly 600 pages of supposedly exculpatory evidence. At this point, this legal persecution, because that's exactly what it is, goes beyond political, and in my view, at this point the actions of Alvin Bragg are criminal. Rand Paul recently tweeted that the New York District Attorney, quote, should be put in jail, and I absolutely agree. There should be an investigation launched immediately. At the bare minimum, Alvin Bragg should be disbarred and forced to resign from his post. We're seeing evidence of clear prosecutorial misconduct, a weaponization of the New York justice system, cherry-picking evidence, hiding evidence, in an effort to try to force the grand jury to indict, based purely on baseless allegations and testimonies from a convicted perjurer, Michael Cohen, a notorious liar who's clearly just trying to get back at Donald Trump. Not to mention he lied during his testimony, considering the document that we have from his actual legal counsel in 2018. Criminals, the whole lot of them. And honestly, in my view, that extends to all the Democrats, like Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, and Maxine Waters, and the rest of them, who supported this sham prosecution and were calling for the immediate imprisonment of Donald Trump. Now, of course, I'm not arguing that they broke some sort of law and that they should be put in jail as well, but their actions, in my personal view, are all criminal. Seems as though this case is falling apart exactly as we predicted. Donald Trump got ahead of it, got some great publicity, and played them all for the fools that they are. Of course, that's just my prediction. We'll have to see. They could, theoretically, still get a grand jury indictment. We'll have to see. But right now, it's certainly not looking good for George Soros' little pet district attorney, Alvin Bragg, and the Democrats who are hoping to finally take down Donald Trump, put him in handcuffs in an orange jumpsuit. They might not get their precious mugshot after all. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.